Assalamu alaikum. We're just going to wait for 5 minutes before others join.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Shabnam.
Assalamu alaikum, brother. How are you doing?
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
So we are just waiting for another 3-4 minutes to start. And then
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Assalamu alaikum. So what I'm doing is I'm writing and noting down the participants in the order of your entry to the meeting. And the reason I'm doing that is that at the end of the presentation, you guys would be the first one to ask questions. So those who would be joining later would get a later.
All right.
Thank you, Shabnam.
So we're waiting for 5 minutes.
Yes, we'll just start at 5 minutes past 11. Assalamu alaikum, Sarah. Assalamu alaikum, Samita.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for joining.
You are welcome.
I'm not able to understand the name from Kilm Learning.
मेरा नाम अशरफ है
Assalamu alaikum, bhai.
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम
So we can hope कि आप लोगों के साथ like also okay we have to talk in English. So we hope all of you are along with your families there. So that it
Yes.
will be a joint learning session for families together.
So alongside with me is Ahmed. So just a brief introduction while others are joining. Myself and Ahmed, we are working on the charity by the name of Waqt, Worldwide Quran Thinkers. The whole purpose of the charity is to research and study the Quran and share our understanding and promote people to think and ponder and research on Quran. So that's all what we're doing. So what we're doing today is there's going to be a presentation, and I would try my best to complete the presentation in about 15-20 minutes. And then after the 20 minutes, we would open the floor for discussions, because the whole idea is for us to come together as Quran thinkers community family and discuss on Quran. So what I'll be doing is I'll be requesting all of you to note down all your questions, all your comments, and we would, once we complete the presentation, then we will open the floor for open discussion.
I want to add one more thing. Why we ask for joining as a family? Because me and Shabnam is working in this Quran and Kitab research and everything as a family. We both are spouses, and that's why we want everybody to join hands with their own families to do this journey together instead of doing alone. It's always better to both spouses do it together. So they are on the same page.
Everybody should be on the same page. Yes.
Yes. the whole idea for us is to really promote the open discussion within the families, and that is the purpose of these meetings. And depending upon how it goes today, we plan to make this a regular feature at least once a month, where we come together as Quran thinkers family and discuss openly. So I'm going to start sharing my screen, and we're going to go through the presentation. I would request everyone to keep themselves on mute, and note down all the questions, all the comments that comes to your mind while we are discussing the presentation. So the topic of our today's discussion is Deen versus Mazhab, Muslims' current state. The agenda is that we are going to discuss what is Deen in the light of the Quran, Deen as namat by Allah, what is Mazhab in the light of Quran, Deen versus Mazhab, what are the differences, what is the situation of Muslim in the light of Quran, the meaning and examples of the word mahajur, and what is the solution based on the current status and situations of Muslim. And in the end, there are concluding remarks and question and answer session. So how Quran defines the word deen is in terms of four broad categories. The first and the foremost is in terms of laws, rules, and regulations. The second is debt for a defined period. Third is rewards and punishment. And fourth is fitrat of Allah. So for instance, with reference to the laws, rules, and regulations, Ayat 1276 mentioned that it is under the king's law. So the deen of the Malik. With reference to the second, debt for a defined period, in Ayat 282, the word deen is used in the meaning of a contractual obligation that you enter for a defined or a restricted period of time. The third meaning, rewards and punishment, is used in the very first chapter, ayat number 4, Maliki Yawmuddin. And the third and the fourth meaning of fitrat of Allah is in terms of ayat 30:30, that Allah has created humanity on the basis of Deen Hanifan, fitrat of Allah. So if we combine all these four meanings, Deen is defined as per Quran as the rules and regulations, a complete code of conduct, a way of life provided to us by our Creator that defines the boundaries of our freedom and restrictions. We need to comply by these rules as we are indebted for these rules for a specified period of time until our deaths. On the basis of these rules, rewards and punishments will be accorded in the dunya as well as the akhirah. These rules are in accordance with fitrat of Allah, those characteristics that are desired in humanity by Allah, aiming to bring out the very best in us through utilization of all our abilities and faculties to maximum. Quran tells us that deen has been given to us in the form of nemat. So ayat 503, this yawm I perfected for you your deen and completed my nemat on you and chosen for you Islam as deen. So if you look at the meaning of the word nemat, nemat is used in Quran as success and prosperity in all walks of life, peace and contentment, law and order, height, benchmark, inspiration, role model, and unity of nations in terms of common purpose and same set of values and belief. And I would like to just briefly discuss the concept of unity among nations, because if you look at ayat number 319, it says that the deen in the sight of Allah is Islam, and those who were given the book did not differ except after knowledge had come to them, baghiyan binahan, transgress out of envy and animosity between themselves. If you look at this particular ayat, it is giving us the two reasons why people differ in deen. One is the lack of knowledge, and the second is in terms of transgression, envy, jealousy, animosity. So let's discuss what is mazhab in the light of Quran. So if you look at the word mazhab, mazhab is not mentioned in Quran. The word that's mentioned in Quran is the word zahaba. And zahaba is used in Quran in the meaning of those ways and methods that one adopts for anything and that are meant for them to withdraw or exit out from earlier adopted methods. So if you look at this particular ayat 217, their example is like the one who kindled a fire and when illuminated what is the mahal all around him, Zahaba Allah with their nur. The example of kafirin is like the person who kindled a fire, but when it illuminated all around them, that although Allah Zahaba with their nur, in terms of giving them hidayah and exit out of the earlier adopted ways and methods through ways and methods of Allah's nur, but they remain so if you look at the word mazhab, the word mazhab is normally understood as religion, and it is normally refers to the ways and methods of expressing one's religious views and beliefs. So as per general understanding, mazhab means religion, human beings' relation to that which they regard as holy, sacred, absolute, spiritual, divine, or worthy of special reference. It is commonly regarded as consisting of the way people deal with ultimate concerns about their lives and their fate after death. In many traditions, this relation and these concerns are expressed in terms of one's relationship with or attitude towards God's divine or spirit. Believers and worshippers participate in and are often enjoined to perform devotional or contemplative practices such as prayer, meditation, particular rituals, mostly attached with or connection with the divine. So if you look at the Deen versus Mazhab, the Deen, as we have just discussed, is perfected by Allah. That is, it is given by God. Whereas mazhab, it's man-made. It's defined by different human personalities. If you look at Deen, Deen are the laws for complete code of conduct. It's a way of life. Whereas mazhab is restricted to religious expressions and rituals only. Deen define boundaries of freedom and restrictions to not let humans be led by their nature of rebelliousness. Whereas if you look at mazhab, lack of freedom and restrictions are mostly based, are mostly formed based on humans' nature of rebelliousness. So, nay, indeed, human is rebellious in nature. Based on, if you look at Deen, Deen is based on fitrat of Allah. So those qualities that Allah would like to see in us. And therefore, the aim of the Deen is to utilize human potential up to its maximum. Whereas mazhab leads to wastage of valuable human resources and potential, including human time, human abilities. Deen is evidenced by the presence of nemat, whereas mazhab is evidenced by the absence of nemat. So this is just a recap about the meaning of the word nemat. If you look at the current state of Muslims, just simply look all around us in terms of the world, in terms of all the Muslim countries, in terms of what's happening all around us in the Muslim world, and tell me whether this is the Deen or whether these are different types of mazahib that we are following as Muslims. So just to give you a recap, Deen is perfected by Allah. It's not man-made. It comprises of laws for complete code of life. It is not restricted to religious expressions and rituals only. Deen defines boundaries of freedom and restriction. It does not let humans be led by their nature of rebelliousness. Deen is based on the fitrat of Allah with full utilization of our potential. It does not let waste valuable human resources, abilities, or potential. The practice of Deen is evidenced by presence of nemat, whereas the current situation of Muslims shows absence of nemat. So remember the concept of nemat is success and prosperity in all walks of life. Do we see that among Muslims? Because it is not the presence of nemat as is evidenced by this. It is Deen is a source of protection and shield, leading to peace, law, and order. Whereas if you look all around us in the Muslim world, we are engulfed in wars and conflicts and animosity against each other. Deen means that you are at the height of your lives. You're treated as inspiration. You're treated as benchmark, as role model. Whereas we hear about Islamophobic attacks. We hear about about us being treated as kirdatun khasain, right? Deen is evidenced by united ummah and nation with same set of purpose, values, and beliefs, and not in terms of being divided in different sects and groups with animosity and hatred against each other. So if you look at the current state of Muslims in the light of the Quran, so this is an ayat which says that Kala the Rasul, my Rab, my Qawm has mahajur this Quran. So if you look at the meaning of the word mahajur, it is used in Quran in three broad meanings. The first meaning is in terms of hijrat, to migrate from home place to another place. So whenever you migrate from one place to another, you are, for example, I give an example of Pakistanis living in Canada, for instance, such as ourselves. Whenever somebody asks us, we say that we are Pakistanis, right? But we're not following the laws of Pakistan anymore. We are following the laws of Canada. And that is the same with Muslims. Whenever somebody asks us, we say that we are Quran followers, but we're not following the laws of Quran anymore. We have mahjur the Quran. The second is we have extremely restricted. So the meaning of the word mahajur is reflective of what in classical Arabic world, people used to use as a sort of a robe to restrict the movement of a cow or a goat, so that it, in terms of their movement, can be restricted. So if you look at the concept of Quran being mahjur, what we have done is we have focused on and taken only few phrases from Quran. We use the Quran for recitation, for respect, and we have focused on only the few phrases of the Quran and ignored the rest of the Quran. So, for example, we know we as Muslims, we know what are the things that are haram, what are the things that are prohibited, and we have this huge list of prohibitions that we follow. But do we really know that in Quran, Allah has regarded not to treat our parents with respect, as a height of rahm, as alongside with a list of prohibition. So the same sort of intensity that Quran places on somebody doing shirk is the same intensity that Allah places on us when we are not treating our parents with ihsan. That is the level of prohibitions, but we don't know as Muslims. This is not a common knowledge. We have a common knowledge of so many other things because we have restricted the Quran. We have not understood the Quran. And the third is to abandon something, to leave, to stop, to stay away from, to ignore something. And that's what we have done. So what we have done as Muslims is we have clearly separated our life from our deen, and we have given the deen in the hands of the scholars and the religious leaders, and we think that only they can teach us. Whereas we are focusing on the life, they are focusing on Quran and to teach us the Quran, and that's how we have abandoned the Quran, right? So if we look at the solution, as per our understanding, the solution is a rational approach to Deen by us as Muslims. And there are three levels of rational approach to Deen. The first is the lateral thinking versus the vertical thinking. So the vertical thinking is that whatever my parents or my forefathers are teaching me, I'm learning that, and that's the same thing that I'm going to forward it to my children. So it's a vertical thinking. Whereas if you look at the lateral thinking is that you learn from your environment. You learn with the use of your intellect. You are curious, you are critical, right? So when it is said to them, follow what Allah has revealed, they say, rather, we will follow that which we found our forefathers practicing, even though their forefathers understood nothing, nor they were guided. So we as Muslims need to follow the lateral way of thinking. We need to use our intellect. We need to learn from our environment. We need to be curious and critical. The second is logical versus emotional. As Muslims, we tend to think everything on the basis of our emotions and feelings. We do not approach our deen based on facts, right? So, oh, you who amanu, if there comes to you a fasik with news information, then investigate. lest you enter into difficulty or adversity, your nation. What you are establishing out of ignorance and immaturity, and become over what you have done regretful. So we approach our deen with emotions. It's about time that we need to base it on facts, on reasons, and not emotions. Either we are not open-minded whenever we enter into any discussions about religion, we are emotional, we are closed-minded. We need to be logical, not emotional. The third is in terms of focusing on the primary source of information rather than secondary. So if you look at the primary source of information for deen, we know from Quran that Allah is the only hikam, Allah is the only lawmaker, Allah is the only judge. These are the ayat of Allah that we ask you to follow with absolute truth and justice. Then in what event or happening after Allah and its and Allah's ayat will they yuminun. And Quran also tells us that deen is khalisatan to Allah, means restricted. It's limited. It's exclusively to Allah. So deen, the source of deen, the concept of khalis, deen to Allah, means exclusively to Allah, with Allah as the only hikam, the only lawmaker, the only judge in matters of deen. So in terms of the concluding remarks, I've taken out few poetic verses from Allama Iqbal's poetry, and my really apologies to those who do not understand Urdu or Hindi. I can translate that in the end. So this is a comparison between the golden era of Muslims and us as currently. सफा दहर से बातिल को मिटाया किसने, नूह इंसान को गुलामी से छुड़ाया किसने, मेरे काबे को जबीनों से बसाया किसने, मेरे कुरान को सीनों से लगाया किसने, थे तो आबा वो तुम्हारे ही मगर तुम क्या हो, हाथ पे हाथ धरे मुंतजरे फरदा हो, मनफात एक है इस कौम की नुकसान भी एक ही सबका नबी दीन भी ईमान भी एक, हरम पाक भी अल्लाह भी कुरान भी एक, कुछ बड़ी बात थी होते जो मुसलमान भी एक, फिरका बंदी है कहीं और कहीं जाते हैं, क्या जमाने में पनपने की यही बातें हैं, शोर है हो गए दुनिया से मुसलमान नाबूद, हम ये कहते हैं कि थे भी कहीं मुस्लिम मौजूद, वजह में तुम हो नसारा तो तमद्दन में हनूद, ये मुसलमान हैं जिन्हें देख के शर्माए यहूद, यूं तो सैयद भी हो मिर्जा भी हो अफगान भी हो, तुम सभी कुछ हो बताओ तो मुसलमान भी हो, हर मुसलमान रगे बातिल के लिए नश्तर था, उसके आईनाए हस्ती में अमले जौहर था, जो भरोसा था उसे कुव्वते बाजू पे था, है तुम्हें मौत का डर उससे खुदा का डर था, वो जमाने में मुअज़्ज़ज़ थे मुसलमान होकर और तुम ख्वार हुए तारिके कुरान होकर. So in terms of Tara, please mute yourself. I'm sorry about that. So we are going to go into the discussion session. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask those who join the meeting first to give them the first opportunity to ask questions or comments. And also I would request if we can make it short and concise so everyone gets a chance. We still have about 40 minutes for our discussions. The whole idea is to keep this space as an open family discussions where we think and the whole idea is for us to learn from each other. No counter questions, please, no lengthy comments, and only questions or discussions pertaining to the topic that we presented today would be greatly appreciated. So I'm stopping, and in the end, there are a few links that I would be sending via email as well. These are the different links of our YouTube channel, the translation work that we are doing. And also, if you have any further questions that we are not able to discuss today, feel free to write to us at infowaqt@gmail.com, or you can also contact us via our website. So I'm going to ask people from the room in the order of their coming to the meeting. Huma, do you have any questions or comments? Huma, you need to unmute yourself.
Sorry.
It's okay. Huma, do you have any questions?
No, at the moment, no, but my husband is here. Do you like to have? Or maybe next time.
Yeah, Shabnam, of course, knows me. Assalamu alaikum, Shabnam. I think you carry on. If I have something, I'll add, with your permission, some comment here. I just wanted to say one thing, that Quran is a strategic direction, and it's not necessarily Zoj and all those senses. Uh, a bit different if you take in that context rather than just restrict it to family sense. But you carry on, and I think let's see how we progress. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you, brother. The only point of us having a family discussion is to give space where we can come together as a family to discuss. It's nothing to do with what Quran is saying. The whole idea is for us to come together as families to be open and discuss Quran among ourselves. Thank you so much, Huma and brother. Farooq Bhai, do you have any questions, any comments that you would like to discuss?
Oh, thank you. Firstly, I'd like to thank Shabnam and Ahmer for organizing this session. It's been very enlightening. Um, I'd like to ask, though, about the comparison between Deen and Madhab from a Quranic text point of view. Um, in the Quran, I can't see how the word dhahaba, madhab, adhabu, and so on is used in a religion sense of the word. Um, However, I have seen in Baqarah ayah 120, Allah says, وَلَن تَرْضَ عَنْكَ الْيَهُودُ وَلَن نَصَارَى حَتَّى تَتَّبِعَ مِلَّتَهُمْ. So the so-called Jews and so-called Christians will not be pleased with you until you follow their millah. So this seems to be a more suitable word for that purpose, you know. Um, and also there is a deen apart from deenillah. So we have deenillah in the sense that deenillah is al-Islam, but there is also deeni kulli, every other deen. So it seems to me that the Quran puts deen for the good as well as the bad. Thank you very much for this
Yeah,
opportunity.
brother, can I explain something? This is a very, very good question. In Ayah 120, Surah Baqarah, basically Allah is not talking about the Yehud and Nasara as a Christian and Jewish. It's they who, their religious leaders, and Nasara, their friends and families, those who support you. They will not be very happy until you follow their rules, what they are doing. So, but then Allah says you should follow Millat Ibrahim, the ways and means the Ibrahim followed. And Ibrahim, what Ibrahim followed, which Allah clearly defined in so many ayahs, that Ibrahim always like a Khalilur Allah, and he always Hanifan, and he always follow the Allah's rules and against all the nahak in the community. He upright against the bad and wrong, and he always favors the right. And that's what Allah meant. And in terms of word zahab, it's used as a way to show you how to reach to point A to point B. So it could be mazhab, it could be like your, so everybody has, for example, you start your life, you have to go from A point to B point, you have a way, but the Quran gives you the basic ingredients which you need to include in your life, so that you will be utmost at the justice, logic, haq, sense, and reasoning, and you have to be respectful. Your code of conduct means doesn't matter what you are conducting, it has to have some basic ingredients which makes it perfect, with haq, knowledge, respect, justice, sense, everything. So Quran basically gives you basic ingredients which you have to include in your way of life. So the zahab is the way, the way of life where you have to reach from point A to point B. But deen is the laws and rules and all those things which you need to include in everything in your life, so that it will be perfect. It will be so how you live your life with harmony, peace, and respect. So these
Um,
ingredients required there.
that's very well said. Brother identified three basic words. One is Deen, Millat, and Mazhab. All of these three words are normally taken as religion. I agree with the brother that there's no use of the word Mazhab or Zahaba in the meaning of religion in Quran. With reference to the word millat, it's used in Quran from the basic meaning of the word imla, which basically means written. It is also used as those ways and methods that is adopted by somebody. So in the ayah that you are referring to, 120, it refers to the ways and methods that's been adopted and written as rules by people of who are your near and dear ones, such as your teachers, your parents, your friends, your supporters. The whole idea is that this is not the practices. The only practices that Quran asks us to follow is the Millat Ibrahim, is that of Deen Hanifan. When it comes to the Deen, I agree with the brother that Deen is used in Quran in terms of the Deen by Quran itself, as well as because Quran mentions that the Deen that is accepted or perfected by Allah for us and chosen for us as a Deen by Allah is Islam. So there are Deen that are other than Islam as well. And in that respect, the all the four definitions would comply with them. So all the four definitions in terms of rules and regulations, in terms of the judgment, would be applicable. So thank you so much for that question, Brother Farooq. Ashraf Bhai, you're the next. Do you have any questions?
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम थैंक यू सो मच फॉर द अपॉर्चुनिटी मैं बहुत ही गौर फिक्र से देख रहा था प्रेजेंटेशन एंड इट्स वेरी गुड एंड इट्स वेरी लर्निंग एज वेल एंड आई माई सेल्फ is a learner since last 15 years. That's the reason I joined here, and it's a very, very, very brightening and lightening experience. And I don't have any questions because you have absolutely explained everything, and in detail, you have explained everything. And the most important thing, what I have realized is much of this deen, the meanings, did we got it also from Aramaic words and also from Hebrew language?
Brother, our way of research and study of the Quran is that we take a word from the Quran and we identify all the ayat that mention that word, just like, for instance, the word deen that we explained. And we take out what is the meaning of that word used in different ayat of the Quran. So we try to understand Quran by Quran itself. When the word is mentioned only once in Quran, at that point of time, we then go into the research of looking into Aramaic or looking into classical Arabic to identify what might be the meaning of the word that used to be used and in those times.
Sahih. Yes, you're absolutely right. And the reason why I asked you is because I've been constantly in research in Hebrew and completely Judaism to understand Islam. And deen is the same word and the same meaning also in Hebrew and Aramaic language.
Okay, thank you, brother.
Yes, ma'am. All right, thank
The Rashad Bhai, do you have any questions? Rashad's property. I don't know if that is the right name.
So anybody else? Anybody? Yeah.
Hi, Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Yeah, shukran, man. I Look, I just enjoyed the topic. I don't have any questions at this point in time. I think Farooq Bhai mentioned some very important definitions or even understanding as well. So, yeah, I'll just be listening in and then come back if there's any questions.
Okay, thank you, brother. Sumita, do you have any questions?
Hi, assalamu alaikum. No questions, but I would just like to make a comment that it's a great learning experience. What sparks my curiosity just before it started, like 2 minutes before the session started, I read the title, and that sparks the curiosity that what's the difference between Deen and Mazhab. So that's why, I joined, and it clarifies lots of things. And thank you so much, Jazakallah. It was great joining, and it's a great experience. I'll exit soon. I have some prior commitments, but hopefully I'll join you guys again. It's a great experience. It was a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much to both of you.
Thank you, Sumita. Thank you so much. Sarah, do you have any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Shabnam. But it has been a very nice, start, and I love the way you started. I have listened to you, so I think at this point, I would say it's a great endeavor, and I would love to hear from you in future as well. So right now, I don't have questions, but definitely in the future, I will have.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Sister Atika, do you have any questions?
I don't have question, sister, right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Muhammad Ayan, brother, do you have any questions?
Hello,
Yes, brother.
am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
मैम मुझे एक क्वेश्चन था कि जब आपने रिजाल और निसा के मतलब निकाला तो वो कैसे निकाला था, क्योंकि हमारे डिक्शनरी में आई मीन कुरान में हमने अपने ढूंढा तो मिला नहीं है। जो आपने वीकर और स्ट्रॉन्गर सेक्शन के बारे में बताया है वो प्लीज आप एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं?
अयान भाई, सिर्फ एक रिक्वेस्ट ये थी कि हम टॉपिक से अलग नहीं जाएंगे, तो हम फ्यूचर के टॉपिक्स में रिजाल और निसा की डिस्कशन रख लेंगे, तो डिटेल में बात कर लेंगे। आज के लिए जो हमारा टॉपिक है उसी के इर्द गिर्द अगर क्वेश्चन होगा तो ज़्यादा बेहतर होगा। प्लस इफ वी कैन स्टिक टू इंग्लिश फॉर सिस्टर अतीका, brother has asked question about rijal and nisa, and I was responding to the brother that we would like to stick to the topic that we are discussing. So maybe in future we would be discussing about Rijal and Nisa, and at that point of time we'll go into the depth of that. So I'm so sorry I won't be able to answer that.
Brother, one thing, obviously we cannot answer the question, but once you get all the links, you will get a link for our cell phone app, and you will see the vocabulary of Rijal and Nisa over there, and it will explain you along with the ayah references. So I would suggest you go into those ayahs and just do some thinking and pondering, and definitely you will get the idea how we come up with that vocabulary.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Sister Zohra, do you have any questions? Zohra, can you unmute yourself?
Oh, Assalamu alaikum. No questions at this stage. Just thank you for this learning experience.
You're most welcome, sister. Thank you for joining us. So now the floor is open for any other questions. There are people who joined later as well, such as Jahan, Mumtaz. Mumtaz, I think he has left, but Jahan is here. Jahan, do you have any question?
Assalamu alaikum. No question at this point because I just joined and I don't know if you have kind of mentioned it that what will be the topic for
Yes, Jahan.
today's session. You did?
No, I haven't. We haven't discussed the topic for the next session. We are planning to
Okay.
hold these sessions every month, first Saturday of
Mm-hmm.
every month. And
Mm-hmm.
we are open to the suggestions for the next session.
Okay.
Based on the question by Brother Ayan, we might even discuss Rijal or Nisa, or
Mm-hmm.
we are still open to whatever you guys suggest.
Okay.
But right now we are discussing the presentation for today. For today's presentation, I would be forwarding you all the important links, as well as the recording of this session today, as well as
Mm-hmm.
the presentation itself for your thinking and pondering. And feel free to get back to us if there is any discussion that anyone would like to have. Please feel free, because we have another 15-20 minutes to go.
So my understanding is we are discussing Deen and Mazhab, right?
Yes, sister.
Somebody brought up this question. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I would like, if whenever or whoever is suggesting and we are discussing, if we mention the verses also
Yes, so
with explanation.
yes, sister. I believe you just joined a while back. We
Yeah,
have gone.
that's what. Yeah.
Yes, we have gone
Mm.
through the whole
Okay.
presentation with ayah references.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I will
Yes.
listen to the recording. Sometimes, I mean, lately I was busy, so I couldn't join the Wednesday ones. But because it is my working hours, so usually I'm just silent, and sometimes I just text in chat if
Yes.
I have anything. Yeah, just
Yes.
to let you know. So hopefully I will join this Wednesday
Yes.
also,
Yes.
inshallah. Yeah.
No,
And I
we
like the topic discussion. It's, yeah, if it is a family matter, then because family, especially children, they ask the specific questions
yes.
that, okay, what is namaz? Why namaz? Why roza or siyam or those things? So it's if we do topics, that will be better to like
Yes.
further relay the
Sister,
understanding.
we are truly humbled, and it's our pleasure that all of you joined us. The concern from our end as well, that when it comes to our younger generation, they ask questions, they are
Yeah.
curious, right? And the way we have been learning Islam is in terms of just I mentioned just right now I mentioned in terms of the presentation that we have been learning it through vertically, through whatever we were told by our forefathers. We were not asked, we were not allowed to ask questions. We were just allowed to believe and follow. And that's what we are expected to do to our younger generations. But our younger generation is not like that. They ask questions, and they ask really thought-provoking questions. The whole idea of having this as a family Quran discussion is to come to these sessions with all the family members, so that we can address and answer these critical questions by our younger generations. Because unless and until we are equipped, we won't be able to answer their questions, right? So
the problem with this generation is, yes, they do ask questions, but they don't want the detailed answer also. Like if I sit and I explain, okay, this, oh, boring. So we kind of need to be very, very precise to explain and just let them understand however ways they want to. I mean,
Can I
that's
ask
in
a
my
question?
household.
Can I ask a question, ma'am?
Yes.
Sure, my brother.
Okay. I mean, like, I would like to know the difference between Navi and Rasul, and what are the root words for these words?
So in terms of the difference between Nabi and Rasul, again, it's a topic that we can consider for the next sessions. But in terms of the root word methodology, at Quran Thinkers, we do not follow that methodology, but you guys are feel free to follow whatever methodology you think is best. From our perspective, what the only thing that we follow is in terms of looking at the structure of any particular word and then finding out that word in terms of wherever it's used in Quran, taking out all those ayahs and then understanding the meaning of that word from all those ayahs. Because we feel that the root word is outside of the Quran. But having said that, we can also discuss in terms of the ways and methods to research and study on Quran in one of the next sessions as well.
Okay.
Emma, do you want to add anything to that?
Yes, definitely. When we talk about learning and understanding Quran, we need to consider that book is 1400 years old. Okay, and if we are using a method which has been developed after 600 years or 800 years, and it is a man-made, obviously it is based on the current language is speaking at that time after 600 years, and every 50 years every language evolved. They have added words, they have and they have forgotten the lots of words which are not in use in that language. So we are talking about the language which is the Quran language. At that time people were speaking, but not today. Today is the same type of language, but it is way different than it used to be. So the only kitab, the book, the Quran can tell you how the word has been used within the structure of Quran, and you have to check all those ayat and you have to make a parameter of that word. In Arabic there is a parameter of word where that word can be used, so it could be different, four or five different types, and then you have to look into the sequence of the ayahs and their waza and their context, and then you have to place the best possible meaning within that parameter of that word, and that parameter has to be established with all the ayahs, and that parameter should be applicable on each and every ayah. That's how you will get, without any contradiction, a proper understanding of a word and an ayah. That's all I have.
Mhm. Okay, sir, I have another question, if I am allowed to ask. Because as I told you, I'm also a researcher since last 15 years. So the reason why I joined you is because after listening to your discussion, I was shocked that, wow, this is exactly what I think. This is exactly it is, and it should be like that. That's the reason I joined today so that I can communicate with you and Sister Shabnam. I want to know that Al Furqan is the official name of this judgment, like it's the criteria for judgment, as Torah is judgment in Hebrew language. So, Torah they call in Hebrew Jews as Torah, but why we don't, in general, call Al Furqan as Al Furqan? And why do we call it as Quran in general? As we know, Quran means to recite. And this book, Al Kitab, was revealed as Al Furqan, as a judgment, as the criteria for judgment for the Arabs at that point of time, because there was no Nabi, there was no Rasul in the history of Arabs. And Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was the first person who was selected as a prophet for the Arabs, because there was never a prophet or Nabi or Rasul appeared in Arabs. So that's the reason I wanted to ask, why do we use the word Quran in general, culturally, or I have no idea. Whereas, why don't we give the title of this book as Al Furqan? Because it makes sense. It's the judgment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is automatically our constitution for the mankind. So Jews did not change the title of their book. The title of their book is Torah. But why aren't we writing Al Furqan as the title of this book?
Okay, brother, Shabnam, you want to go ahead or you want me to answer?
Yes, yes. In terms of brother, why do we call Quran the Quran is something that is obviously beyond our hands. We don't know from where did we come up with the name. The name of the surahs, the bifurcation of all the ayahs into different chapters, the name of each chapters, the name of the kitab itself. It's all something that was done by humans. It is not divine. It's not Allah who called this kitab a kitab. If any name, the word to refer to the Quran is kitab. That's how Quran refers to itself. The word Quran is not used in the meaning of the recitation as well, because if you look at the word Quran, it is from Ikra. It has three broad meanings. The first is to read, understand, and practically implement in your day-to-day lives. The second is to compile each and every law, each and every instructions, divine instructions, compile it together, understand it alongside with each other. And the third is again, it's one of the most important ones that people tend to forget, which is to communicate to others, to proclaim to others, whether verbally or in writing or even through your conducts. Quran or the kitab should be reflected in your behaviors, and that is the meaning of the word Quran. So on one hand, Allah says that this Allah refers to the Quran as kitab, that this kitab is for hidayah. But on another hand, Allah says that Quran has been made first on you. So when Allah says Quran has been made first on you, it basically means that whatever you have understood, whatever you have read, understood, and it now needs to be practically implemented in your lives. Implementation of whatever you have understood practically in your day-to-day lives and proclamation of it as it is to other is now made mandatory. Allah does not say kitab is first. Allah says Quran is first. Right, so there's these slight distinction. We can call it with whatever name. It's just that you can call the kitab in whatever name feels comfortable to you. But as per our understanding and research, it is the kitab, and it is the kitab that was given to everyone. It's not like the Torah was given to them and Quran was given to us. It's not like that. It's the same kitab, the same laws, the same regulations, the same deen that was given to everyone, as per our understanding and research.
Yes, that is absolutely. Thank you so much for explaining very clearly. But if I'm a student of law in
Ashraf
job,
bhai, I'm sorry. Can I interrupt, and can I ask you if you can give opportunities to others as well to participate in the discussion,
I'm
please?
sorry.
I think
Shabnam, if you wish, what Farooq Bhai has said, I have another ayah to show, if you allow me,
yes,
which
please.
in fact supports the point of kitab.
Yes, go ahead.
If you look at 2213, it says that all apostles were having al-kitab. And then it further confirms from, if you go down from 683 to 90, it in fact names all the Anbiya, and it says they all were given al-kitab. So al-kitab, as you rightly said, kitab means which court. That's what kataba implies, that it's not just the book in that sense which we understand traditionally, but it's more of a court kind. All right.
Yes, that's a good reference. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
Shabnam, can I add something, please?
Yes.
So the question, I'm sorry, I forgot the gentleman who asked the question about Al Furqan.
Ashraf bhai.
Ashraf Bhai, thank you. Ashraf Bhai, I think if you have a look at chapter 2, verse 185, so this is the first occurrence of the word Quran in the Quran. And it says, Shahru Ramadan alladhi unzila fihi al-Quran. The month of traditionally understood, the month of Ramadan is when was descended the Quran. So the Quran there is the subject, the starting point, if you like, yeah? And then Allah defines the role, which is Hudal linnas, guidance to the people, وَبَيِّنَةٍ مِنَ الْهُدَى, clarification of the guidance, وَالْفُرْقَانِ, and the criteria. So I would say Al-Furqan is the role of the Quran as opposed to the title of the Quran. If you have a look at chapter 5, verse 48, it tells you how to judge there. The judgment, yeah? The judgment is with Al-Kitab bil-Haq. It's not Al-Furqan. So if you want to like remain strict to the vocab, I think that's where you should look. Thank you very much.
Yes, from everybody's perspective, we are truly grateful to all of you for your questions, and also in terms of really pitching in and answering and addressing each other's query. This is the type of open discussions and learning that we want to achieve, where we are learning from each other, where we are entering into open debate and discussions. So for the next session, we are open to ideas related to the topic that you would like to discuss. The format will remain the same. It will be 15 to 20 minutes of presentation, and after that we will open the floor for questions and comments first in the order of the people joining the sessions, and then opening the floor for any discussions, any open discussions where we can all interact with each other and discuss openly on the Quran. So feel free to send us your ideas, your suggestions for the next session. We are planning to have these every month, the first Saturday of every month. We are truly grateful for each and every one of you who attended today's session, for all your support, for all your open thinking, for all your research, for all your study, and being here in this space with us. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much for the joining and listening and putting your efforts to make each other understand. And that is called Quran. Kitab everyone can read, but Quran is the one you understand and you are trying to establish and implement in your life. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Khuda Hafiz.
Assalamu alaikum.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz, Zora.
Assalamu alaikum. Allah Hafiz.
Alaikum salam. Allah Hafiz.
Yes, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Assalamu alaikum, Rashad bhai.
जी शुक्रिया बहुत बहुत जज़ाकल्लाह खैर. Thank you.
Jazakallah. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you, Ashraf bhai. बहुत शुक्रिया. Allah Hafiz.